it ends. It's going to be an epic fight. Both guys can blast. They can throw great punches. They're right hand heavy. Both of them are right hand heavy. But first they got to line it up with the jab. So it's whoever establishes their jab first will establish the win.
One of the most awaited all-British heavyweight clashes between Anthony Joshua and Daneil Dubois is just around the corner, and the boxing community shared their verdicts on it. Paulie Malignaggi thinks that Anthony Joshua will face some challenging times against Daneil Dubois, but he will ultimately prevail. I lean towards AJ. He's got the experience and is fighting his best boxing right now, but it's a good fight, said Malignaggi when speaking to Canada Casino. I could see AJ getting hurt or even going down and getting up to win, possibly. It's a fight, man. I don't think it lasts long, maybe 5 or 6 rounds. Dubois will show his worth, but I don't think he'll win. Carl Frampton stated that it will be an intense fight, predicting that someone will likely be knocked out. He noted that while AJ is the favored fighter, he wouldn't be shocked if Dubois ends up winning.
Coming through the adversity that he came through in his last 2 fights probably gives him more of a chance. I think that certainly AJ's the favourite. They're heavyweights and Dubois is brave. And what I can guarantee is someone gets knocked out. And I think someone probably gets knocked out in the first 6 rounds, if I'm being honest. You have to favour AJ, but wouldn't surprise me if Dubois does it. Just they're big men, big athletic men, and anything can happen.
Ricky Hatton expects Anthony Joshua to become a 3-time heavyweight world champion later this month. I can only see Anthony Joshua winning, said Hatton. A lot of people will turn around and say it's an obvious statement, and we can all say is Joshua lands a punch on your chin, then he'll knock you out, but because he's happy now. Not like when he fought Usyk and didn't look in a good place mentally when he lost the fight. He further added, he's with Ben Davison and is a very good thinking coach, a good tactician, and in his last few fights, he's known for being a heavy puncher, but he's added more fluency to his movement and his combinations of what he is letting go. Fraser Clark shared a unique perspective on the upcoming match. In a recent conversation with Boxing Social, he offered his prediction for the Joshua versus Dubois fight and identified who he believes is the hardest hitter among them. He mentioned that it's a really competitive, good fight. I still have AJ as favorite, but I've said this before and I'll say it again. If Dubois is not the heaviest puncher I've been in with, he's probably in the top 3 or 4. He can really whack. Clark continued, it's a different kind of punch. I think on a single shot, probably Joshua just cause it comes with a bit more speed. They come sharp, but Dubois is a real thud. Mark Tibbs mentioned that the more he considers the fight, the more he views it as a 50-50 matchup. He pointed out that while AJ's extensive experience makes him the favorite, he also recognizes Dubois' improvements. He noted that both fighters have some defensive vulnerabilities, but he believes it will definitely be an exciting bout.
Smashing fight, a terrific fight. The more and more I think about it, and the more and more I'll make it a 50-50. AJ obviously has got the wealth of experience and double world champion and been everywhere, Olympic gold medalist, etc. So obviously he's the favourite. But Daniel's certainly got weapons of mass destruction, and he's got to land them first, fast and hard though. So defense is a little leaky on both of them and vulnerable, but it's going to be a great fight. Can't wait for that.
Robert Garcia recognizes the strengths that Anthony Joshua brings to the ring and believes his former fighter has the potential to become heavyweight champion later this month. It is a close fight because we can't underestimate a world champion. Nobody can, nobody should, said Garcia when speaking to Boxing King Media. But personally, I think the activity, the confidence he built in his last 4 fights, it's enough to turn it into an easy fight. I think Joshua wins comfortably, and I think he wins by knockout. Jilly Zhang believes Dubois can get the job done. Zhang said, I personally favor Daneil Dubois to pull this off because he is on the surge. He is hungry, he is young, and he has the fire in him. He had a beautiful knockout victory over Filip Hrgovic last time, so I really have my faith in the underdog. We are literally 3 weeks away, and I believe he will shock the world. Trainer Shane McGuigan believes Daneil has the capability to knock out any heavyweight in the world at this moment. He emphasizes that Daniel's speed and balance could be key factors in securing a victory.
Daneil has always had that ability. When I was working with him, unbelievable ability, like great balance, great punch power. Can throw any shot in the book. Most heavyweights can't really do that. They're stuck on like the jab and the right hand. He could throw uppercuts, hooks. He could throw them with speed. He lacked a little bit of intensity, lacked a lot of belief. But I feel like the last couple of fights have really brought that out of him. That confidence. he's still a young heavyweight, and he's got the ability to knock any heavyweight out on the planet.
Jarrell Miller recognizes the talent of Daneil Dubois, having experienced a stoppage loss to him last year. Following that defeat, Dubois continued his strong momentum with a standout performance, stopping Filip Hrgović. Now he is set for a major clash with Joshua, and Miller, who is keen to challenge Joshua himself, has shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight. Dubois clearly has a better chin than AJ, said Miller when speaking to pro boxing fans. I feel like it's going to come down to attrition and who's going to have the better game plan. I'm rooting for Dubois in this one. Malik Scott is confident that Anthony Joshua will become a 3-time heavyweight champion in his upcoming fight against Daneil Dubois next week. As the trainer of former world champion Deontay Wilder, Scott has studied both fighters closely and firmly believes that Joshua can secure the win. Joshua has a solid base, good boxing skills, and a great coach in Ben Davison. He's highly motivated and dangerous right now. I do think Dubois has trouble with that defense, said Scott when speaking to Genting Casino. He further added, but Dubois has surprised me lately, especially when he weathered the storms against Filip Hrgović and Jarrell Miller. But Joshua is just different. If I were a betting man, I'd put my money on Joshua, stopping him between rounds 4 and 7. Jerry Forrest believes that Joshua has the potential to defeat anyone. He emphasized that Joshua is always eager to learn and remains humble, continually striving for improvement despite already holding all the titles. Forrest is confident that if Joshua continues to progress in this manner, he will achieve victory.
I got my money on Joshua versus anybody. Besides myself, I believe Joshua can beat anybody. Listen, he's the truth. He wants to get better. He's very receptive. He listens. He's a good guy. Even when I come into the gym, I'm not a world champion. He had all the titles. He's listening to me in the sense of, let's take the advice, so he's a humble guy that actually wants to get better in the sport. So if he keeps progressing, man, this guy may be around until he's 40 years old.
Joe Joyce knows what it takes to face Daneil Dubois, having defeated him in 2020. In addition to his experience with Dubois, Joyce has also sparred with Anthony Joshua several times. The 2016 Olympic silver medalist has felt the power of both fighters and believes that each hits hard in their own right. Raw power Dubois, but Joshua has that power too, said Joyce when speaking to Seconds Out. It's maybe a bit quicker. I remember him putting the hands together a bit more. Dubois is improving as well. Also, we're going to have to see on the night. Maxie Hughes also shares the belief that Daneil Dubois could pull off a major upset against Anthony Joshua. While Joshua represents a substantial challenge for Dubois, Hughes, the former IBO champion, remains confident that Dubois has what it takes to succeed. I'm going with the unpopular decision of backing Dubois. I've seen a lot of the interviews of other heavyweights talking about sparring them both and saying how hard Dubois is, said Hughes when speaking to Seconds Out. He's gaining experience and coming off a very good win against Filip Hrgović, so he'll be confident, and obviously, Joshua will be confident coming off his win. I just feel like when Joshua does get hit, he can sometimes fall to pieces. Otto Wallen, who last faced Anthony Joshua, believes Daneil Dubois will encounter a difficult challenge. Wallen mentioned that if Dubois employs the same aggressive style he used against Filip Hrgović, he may run into issues. However, he also noted that adopting a more defensive approach could enhance Dubois' chances in the fight.
I think that if Dubois comes out like he did in his last fight, got hit with a lot of shots from Hrgović. If he does the same with Joshua, I think it's going to be an early night. I think that Joshua is going to win within the first 5 or 6 rounds, if that happens. But if Dubois comes out with a little better defense and can hit Joshua with a few good shots, maybe make him doubt himself, then I think it could turn into a good fight. But it all depends. If we all seen Joshua's power with Ngannou, so if he hits Dubois with those kind of shots and keeps hitting him, then it's going to be an early night. But I think that Dubois is a good fighter, so if he can come out and land a few shots himself, then it could turn into a good fight.
Johnny Fisher is confident that Anthony Joshua will defeat Daneil Dubois, but he advises Joshua to remain cautious. Although Joshua is the more experienced fighter and the favorite for the bout at Wembley Stadium, Fisher, who has sparred with Dubois, emphasizes the Brit's significant punching power. I am definitely favoring Anthony Joshua, but not by the margin that people expect. I reckon it is like a 55-60 to a 40-45 split in favor of Anthony Joshua, Fisher told Seconds Out. Dubois can seriously whack. I have sparred him loads. His right hands can shake to your absolute core. I remember when I got hit by one, it was like an electric shock going through my body. He further said, the jab of Dubois as well, it's like a right hand. Although I can't speak about sparring Anthony Joshua, I know that Dubois ain't no joke, and coming off of great wins over Jarrell Miller and Filip Hrgović, who had been the bogeyman for the last 2-3 years, to deal with him is impressive. Tyler Denny, the European champion, said that both fighters have the destructive power to knock out each other. He picked AJ to get his hands raised against Dubois. He stated, I think if I had to pick, I'd pick Joshua. I think they've both got the destructive power to knock each other out, which is why it's so fascinating. If I had to pick, I'd pick AJ. Prince Nassim Hamed, a renowned figure in boxing from these shores, is anticipated to be present at the event. Beforehand, he provided his prediction to pro boxing fans.
Just that AJ Dubois prediction now is who wins.
The AJ, you know what? I think AJ wins, to be honest, by KO.
Naz, thank you very much.
Tony Bellew has raised concerns about Dubois' defense, suggesting it's too vulnerable for him to withstand powerful right-hand punches from Joshua without ending up on the canvas. If he fights AJ next, it ends quickly and brutally, purely based on the fact that, let's just put 2 and 2 together here. He took 56 clean right hands in the first 4 rounds. He added, you'll get away with 1 or 2 against AJ, and then you know what happens? Then you go to sleep. I take nothing away from him. Amazing resilience and a huge amount of courage against Filip Hrgović, but it's one thing Filip Hrgović hitting you, and another thing a wrecking machine like Anthony Joshua hitting you. Tyson Fury's trainer, Peter Fury, believes both fighters possess the skills to compete effectively against each other. However, he feels that Joshua has the edge in experience and speed, which could allow him to dominate the fight. He stated, very interesting one, they can both punch for sure. You'd have to go with Joshua because he has that experience and he's got that sharpness and the speed. He's mixed at that level as well, that very high level. Adam Morale believes that for Daneil Dubois to achieve victory over Anthony Joshua, he must enter the fight stronger and more resilient. He also pointed out that Dubois' youth could play a crucial role as an advantage on fight night.
And in order to win the fight, he's got to be around and alive and strong from round like 9-10 onwards. And I think his superior youth may play its part at that point.
Duke McKenzie is backing Daneil Dubois to cause a huge upset when he faces Anthony Joshua this month. McKenzie, a fighter who won world titles in 3 weight classes, likes what he's seen from Dubois, and he's picking the champion to retain his title. I don't know if he's the people's favorite, and I don't know if he's the bookie's favorite, and I don't gamble. But if I did right now and I had to pick one person to win this particular fight, I'm slightly leaning towards Dubois, said McKenzie when speaking to TalkSport. He further added, when you look at the last several fights that they've had, AJ's had the softer ride in. Dubois has the more natural athleticism about him. He's more loose than AJ. He would have done his research on AJ and know how to beat him. Kevin Lerena, who faced Dubois at a London stadium in 2022, came close to victory after dropping him 3 times in the first round, only for Dubois to ultimately knock him out. Lerena believes Dubois will be a tough challenger for Joshua in their upcoming fight. Yes, he lost to Usyk, but look what Dubois has done to Jarrell Miller and Filip Hrgović in his last 2 fights. He's riding the crest of a wave. Confidence is sky high, and he's a serious heavyweight at the moment, Lerena told the Toe to Toe podcast. Lerena further elaborated that he views it as a 50-50 fight, as both fighters possess significant punching power. However, he leans towards AJ, citing his athleticism and remarkable performances in the ring as key advantages.
To be honest, Anthony Joshua is a phenomenal fighter, and I rate AJ highly. Super athletic, very strong, explosive. But if I look at, like, if we had to go and break it down, it's truly a 50-50 fight. The reason why I say that is because it sounds cliche, but both guys can punch. Both guys are good finishers, okay?
Anthony Crolla is impressed by Daneil Dubois' power, but believes Dubois will come up short against Anthony Joshua next month. The former lightweight world champion has been discussing the upcoming fight and gives Joshua the edge in the matchup. He stated, "It's such an intriguing fight. My worry for Dubois is that AJ has a fantastic right hand, and although Daneil takes a good shot, it's another matter taking that right off Joshua in small gloves." He further explained, "I do not rule out Dubois though. If he's still there after 4 rounds, then it could become his type of fight, and it's a real toss-up as to who has the heavier hands. I can't decide whether this fight will be over early or AJ catches up with Dubois late in the fight. It's not a foregone conclusion by any means, but I'm going with AJ to win by stoppage." The all-British heavyweight world title fight will take place at Wembley Stadium, marking Joshua's return to the iconic venue for the first time since 2018. For Dubois, it will be the first time he has boxed at Wembley, but not his first stadium fight. He challenged Aleksander Usyk for the unified championship at Wrocław Stadium in Poland. So what do you think about this fight? Share your thoughts thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.